The good news is that the price of oil is falling a lot. It's also the bad news if you're determined that the U.S. kick its addiction to foreign oil. President-elect Barack Obama says now is the time to do that, even with the economy in recession. But the oil kingdom, Saudi Arabia, the world's largest supplier of oil, with the U.S. as its #1 customer, is pulling all the levers and spending billions to keep the oil age going. We went to Saudi Arabia a few weeks ago to meet one of the most powerful men in the world, Ali al-Naimi, the Saudi oil minister and de facto head of OPEC, the oil cartel. If most Americans had an opportunity to sit down with the oil minister of Saudi Arabia, the thing they would like to know is where you think the price of oil is going to be, say, in about 6 months. Is it going to be up or down?
You want my classic answer?
No, I want your honest appraisal and your judgment.
My honest judgment is, if I were to know what the price of oil 6 months from now, I would be in Las Vegas. Okay?
He may be smiling, but this is a man with serious heartburn and vertigo. The price of oil has been soaring and sinking up and down uncontrollably. Why did the price, in your opinion, spike in July? Why did it go way up to $147 a barrel?
Basically, there was what's called a fear premium.
And the fear was that Saudi Arabia itself had peaked out, that you'd reached your ceiling of how much available oil is left in your overall reserve. So what's the truth?
But the truth is, here is the kingdom with more than 260 billion barrels, and I firmly believe that the potential to add another 200 billion barrels of oil are there to be found.
If the oil minister of Saudi Arabia had one message, it was, there is no need for those fears. And to make the point, they let us see facilities that'll increase Saudi capacity from about 10 million barrels a day to more than 12 million. And they're going to the ends of the earth to do it. This is Sheba, a desert wilderness where temperatures can reach 135 degrees. The Saudis say that 18 billion barrels of oil lie beneath these red sand dunes, more than 4 times the proven reserves of Alaska. To tap into it, the kingdom's national oil company, Saudi Aramco, had to build an oasis here.
The Sheba story is an amazing story. And
Awayid al-Shamari oversees the mega project at Sheba, here in the kingdom's empty quarter. We're on soft sand. We're not talking about a hard surface here. Look, this is what it's like here. I mean, this is soft.
Yeah, the logistics are impossible. The first thing we had to do is build our own road in order to access this field.
Just to get here.
Just to get here. Once that was done, we had to remove 100 million cubic feet of sand just to make the runway that we are currently using. Yeah.
100 million?
Yeah, we had to remove a sand dune in order to connect 2 flat areas to do that.
But what about pipelines?
We built a pipeline 400 miles in length, and you can imagine the challenge of building that pipeline in a topography like this.
But it was nothing compared to accessing the oil itself, which was discovered in 1968, but for 30 years was considered too hard to extract.
Now, with sand dunes this high, it's almost impossible, and the economics just didn't make it at the time, until the development of the horizontal drilling.
That's where you place a derrick on firm ground, then dig down with a drill bit that snakes horizontally under the sand dunes with branching tentacles like a fish bone. The drill bits can travel out for as much as 5 miles. You know, when we were growing up, we always heard about the building of the pyramids. This sounds like the building of the pyramids.
It was a huge task for everybody.
The Sheba facility is now being expanded to extract a total of 750,000 barrels a day of high-grade Arab extra-light crude. And when will you see the first drop of oil out of the new part right behind you?
We will operate this facility very early next year.
So the
We're
beginning of
almost done.
'09.
Absolutely.
Then, on the other side of the kingdom, there's an even bigger mega project at a field known as Kharayis. It's also scheduled to go online next year.
This is the biggest oil project in history.
Khalid Abdul Kadar, the project manager, says 1.2 million barrels a day will be tapped here. That's more than the entire daily production of some OPEC countries like Qatar and Indonesia. Wow, this is a lot of walking. The oil will be stored in massive tanks like this one, which is 7 stories high. Look at this.
Yes. We'll go down.
That is gigantic. It's 300 feet across, the length of a football field. So can we go down? Can we?
Yes.
Okay. Be careful. Be very careful. Like just about everything at Kharayis, even the tanks have the latest bells and whistles.
This is a floating roof.
Yeah.
So when oil comes in, the whole roof will go up.
Rise up?
Rise up, yes. And the stair also will rise up with it.
So in other words, we're standing on the roof of the tank, and the oil will push it up.
We'll push it up, all the way up.
There's more oil in this one field at Kharayis than in the entire United States. It's the largest oil facility to come online anywhere in the world in nearly 3 decades, with, the Saudis say, 27 billion barrels of oil. Has anybody projected how many years it's going to take to deplete?
It will take us more than 50 years.
50.
Yes.
Kharayis, like the sand dunes, presented a technological challenge. The field has very little natural pressure, which is necessary to bring the oil to the surface. So to force the oil up, they're injecting seawater down, deep underground.
We will inject about 84 million of gallons per day of seawater.
So where's the seawater coming from? Because we're here in the middle of the desert. How far away is the sea?
It is about 150 miles from here.
So in addition to all of this for the oil, you're also building a pipeline from the...
pipeline to get the additional water all the way to here.
The complexity and vastness of the project are staggering, with 26 contractors, 106 subcontractors, and 22,000 workers from around the world who have laid thousands of miles of pipeline and cables. How much steel are you using here? Because I'm looking, it's just steel as far as I can see.
See, we have enough structural steel here that will build 2 bridges equal in size of the Golden Gate bridges in California.
2?
2.
These 2 mega projects, plus 3 others, are costing Saudi Arabia a total of $60 billion over 5 years. And they're not borrowing any of it, it's all being paid for in cash. Still, Saudi costs for producing oil are the lowest in the world. How much does it cost Saudi Arabia to produce 1 barrel of oil?
This is an excellent question. It is very small, very little. It's probably less than $2 to produce a barrel.
Saudi Arabia reportedly needs to sell oil for at least $55 a barrel to cover the cost of running the country. Fossil fuels finance 75% of its entire domestic spending budget. But oil has sunk below that break-even price. Does this worry you? Does this send chills through your spine?
No, I'm not a worrier. I get concerned, but I don't worry.
Are you concerned?
The concern is this. Any price must be good for the producer, for the consumer, for the investor, the oil companies.
So you're saying if the price goes too low, then production will fall, and in the end we'll be squeezed. We won't have enough oil to run our country.
The price will skyrocket.
What he wants is an end to the wild swings in price, which is why, to keep the price from further plummeting, he agreed to a cut of 1.5 million barrels a day in the October meeting of OPEC, the oil cartel. The point is that Saudi Arabia wanted the 1.5. This was not something jammed down your throat.
No, this is, no. Not, by the way, nothing gets jammed down our throats.
But Iran wanted more.
Well, I mean, different countries want different levels, different cuts. But in the final analysis, reason prevails.
But are you saying that
Saudi Arabia influence on OPEC?
Influence so strong now that he was able to quash Iran's attempt to double the price of oil, which Tehran needs to support its budget, including its nuclear program and the bankrolling of militias like Hezbollah and Hamas. Still, al-Naimi says oil is no longer used as a weapon. Iran tries to keep the price way up, and Venezuela's trying to keep the price way up. That, you don't consider that oil as a weapon?
If you looked at these countries you just named,
yes,
every one of them would like to sell every barrel they can.
As high a price as they can get away with.
Right.
The sense out of the OPEC meeting to a lot of people was by cutting production, your purpose was to get the price up again. And that would hurt the world, which is suffering an economic crisis. And the world means everywhere.
I can assure you that price was the least on our mind.
But of course,
I say that in all honesty.
But the sense is you were oblivious to the concerns of the world facing this economic crisis. You didn't care about the recession, the credit problems, or anything like that.
That is really a very unfair criticism. What did governments do when the financial crisis happened? They took measures to bring stability back to the financial market. And we see, because of our responsibility, a future crisis in the oil market. Should we not take preemptive measures to prevent it? And I think the answer is yes, we should. It's incumbent on us not to see the oil market destroyed.
The Saudis recently announced the price they would like to see oil selling for, $75 a barrel, about 50% higher than the current price. Are they trying to keep the U.S. addicted to oil? Their answer when we come back.